task 3 of the final project that we do. So first we start by importing all the frameworks and the dependencies that we need for this task, and then we initialize our Spark session. Afterwards, we define a readDB function and we start to read data from the database. For the simplicity, we only use the 2022 FIFA player data for our training, and also testing the performance of the model. And for the skill set, we choose all the corresponding skill sets for each of the player, and all of these are numerical columns, so it's relatively easy to process and train the model. So first of all, we start to prepare the feature column. As you can see, we do some casting and cast all the non-integer column into the integer one, and and convert them to a data frame. Afterwards, we do imputation and also filter out unnecessary rows and columns, such as rows that has null values. And then we also impute missing values in the feature columns, and we also drop columns if there's too many missing values. And therefore, in order to run the model into Spark, we combine all these feature columns, which consists of about 25 or 30-ish columns, into a feature vector, and we call it assembled player df. And then we create we further do a filtering on the assembled df to make sure there's no rows that is contains null value, and we will scale them and basically do some normalization logic to make sure the data frame is scaled correctly for the performance of the training. And then we do a train test split. Afterwards, we import some corresponding machine learning models for us to use, and for this part, we are only using the Spark, and the next video will explain the same task but with a TensorFlow framework. So here we first define some cross-validation part, but we actually can run the GPT part first, and to make sure the GPT yes, so these two should be run first, and then we will go back to the cross-validation part. So we run basically two models, one linear regression and one GPT regressor, and we will evaluate the R-squared as well as the RMSE from these two models, and then we will perform the cross-validation in the rest of our logic. So this may take a while. Has finished training, and now we can analyze the R-squared here. So for the linear regression, it's fairly straightforward. It's just linear regression, and as we can see, the R-squared is not pretty good. It's only about 0.3. But however, for the GPT regressor, it performs much better. It's got about 80%. 0.8 of the R-squared value, which seems quite good to use. So we can run these cross-validation part and get some corresponding cross-validation results from there. And overall, this is how we do the first version of the task 3 using Spark.